For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise. And you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here. This is The Scribble. Thanks for tuning in on your favorite podcast app. How's it going today? Woo! November is here. Doesn't feel like it though, does it? I don't know. Now, have you ever had to go to an event that you didn't really care to go to? That could be a work event, a school event, maybe something your partner dragged you to. Were you able to sort of pull off that fake smile and make it look like you were having a good time? Well, I had to go to a funeral where it was very clear people did not care for the deceased. I'm going to tell you that story coming up in just a little bit. And speaking of those work events and work functions, I mean, how do you get through them? Those team building exercises, does it actually make you grow closer? Or does it make you just resent the people even more and see what dorks they really are? It's all coming up on The Scribble, and it starts right after this.
This statement has not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. No offense, but are you a little fat when you look in the mirror? How do you like to learn the secret to losing 3 to 5 pounds a week without joining the gym or going through any crazy diets? It's called Body Sculpt RX. For the last 2 decades, we've helped countless people lose thousands of pounds. And now, it's your turn. Learn how to lose weight with one simple phone call and no prescription needed. You'll see an amazing difference in a matter of days. Don't believe us? We'll offer you a risk-free money-back guarantee. So, if you're ready to start losing weight, call right now and get a free month supply with your first order of Body Sculpt RX. Call now. You have nothing to lose but the pounds. 800-459-6838. 800-459-6838. 800-459-6838. That's 800-459-6838.
Listen up, guys. Are you experiencing any of the following? Fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Virility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Virility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer. Save the money, save the hassles, and get the better blue pill. Dial 800-578-0179. That's 800-578-0179. 800-578-0179.
Jeremy Bradley here, back on The Scribble. We've all had to go to an event that we didn't want to, whether that's a school assembly, whether that's a work, meeting, those work retreats, or the team building lunches, or the escape room, and you're just like, I can't stand these people at the best of times. Why do I now have to go? Right? I've always resented those kinds of things. That's why at our, Speak Free Media, we've had the same group of people working together for probably, most of us, almost 15, more than 15 years. Bonnie, we've known each other. Sure, yeah, 18 years, she just said in my ear. And Tim Chislam, one of our producers, he got my syndicated radio show started on the air, many years ago. So we all go way back. We don't need those team building things. And it's great because a few of us, Raylene, our accountant, and Bonnie, one of our producers, we all worked together at a publishing company. When I was in my mid-20s, Bonnie, she was just becoming a grandma. I'll say that. One of her sons is my age. And so I'm 40 now. And so do the math, everybody. I'm telling you Bonnie's age without telling you Bonnie's age. And we were all so different. Me being the dashing homo, Bonnie was, the homophobe from the country. Raylene, just this rock star chick, 2-time breast cancer survivor, I should point out as well. And so, and a bunch of it, we were all just such different people, but somehow it worked. It just really worked. And we didn't have an environment where we were trying to one-up each other or, outdo it. Because in our workplaces now, that's what it was, right? I was the managing editor. Bonnie was an editor of a magazine. She had her projects. I had mine. It wasn't like, well, I'm the better editor, because we just didn't have that crossover. I worked with my clients. She worked with her clients. That really was it. And it was a very team-oriented environment that we had. And so when I started to do the radio stuff and then form my own company, I was like, these are the people that I want, because I'm not having to start all over again. So we don't have to do those retreats and pep rallies and how that, because I'm just like, what? No, you're here to work. If you don't have the passion for the radio, the writing, the newspaper, whatever it is that we're doing here, then don't be here. And so when I see these different workplaces and they have, ping pong and tournaments and prizes and decorate your desk and whatever, I could just look at that and go, how old are you people? Like, I ain't got time for that crap. Like, you're here to work. Like, I'm here to host the show, do this, write my newspaper column, do the next book. You guys are here to market it, do it on social media, whatever. And we just do the work. And so those types of work environments, and maybe they work for the millennials or the younger generation. For me, that seems like it would be maddening as hell. So anyway, point being is we've all gone to events that we haven't wanted to. And that might also be, if we're in a relationship, maybe we had to go to our partner's Christmas function at their job, or one of their friends' weddings, and we don't either know the people or we don't like them or something to that effect. Well, I went to a funeral. And it's for somebody that I didn't really care for, okay? So here's the deal. And I could tell by the way people were acting and reacting and speaking, they didn't really care for the person either. I'm not kidding. You're going to think that I'm being sarcastic or making jokes. The first person to go up was the widow, okay? The first person to speak or, eulogize, give a speech, whatever you want to call it, was the widow. And she opened with saying, so-and-so, husband, so-and-so was a proud asshole. I'm not kidding you, ladies and gentlemen. That was the opening line. He was a proud asshole. And first they're shocked, right? Because you're kind of like, wait a second. No, she didn't. Did she? She didn't. Did she? She did. And it kind of caught everybody off guard. And then you sort of look around the room and people are kind of like nodding and going, oh yeah, he kind of was. And I'm saying this is so bizarre because like you always think that at a funeral, much like a wedding, right? Even if you don't really, you just lie. You just lie and you say he was a great person and whatever. But the fact that even the wife doesn't even try, the wife isn't even sugarcoating it and going, he was a proud asshole. That's what she starts with. And I was like, wow, if this is setting the tone for the rest of the service, I might actually enjoy it. I'm kind of glad that I came today. I took some time off work to come and do this, but yeah. And then his mother-in-law, so the bride's mom, right? Or the wife's mom, she comes up and her opening line was, I didn't like him when I first met him. And again, you're just sort of like jaw on the floor. What is going on here? Nope. Did anybody like this dude? Did anybody like him? Even my dogs in the room, by the way, are kind of like, hold, what's going on? What's going on? Okay, I'll calm down. Because I couldn't get over it. I was sort of like, this is the weirdest funeral. And so then it's mixed reviews after, because I started to talk with other people later on. That's where you go and look people up on Facebook and like, what did you think about that? And so it was sort of mixed, because you got people who are laughing about it going, it was pretty funny. Like, why bother even lying and saying that this guy was, well loved and whatever. And then you've got others who are like, that's just a really weird way to talk about, your loved one. But again, if he's got that relationship with people, that was his wife. So, if she's cool with saying, and it was just so weird. So tell me, if you've gone to an event such as that, And you've had to just put on that face, because I think it really brings out the actor in a lot of us. Trust me, being in the business that I'm in, I've had to go to events, I've had to MC events, I've had to, just do a crap ton of stuff where I don't give two shits about what's happening, but you just put on that face. And it's no different than when even when you run into somebody at the mall. That used to happen all the time when I was, younger, and I'd be, shopping with my mom or whatever, and she'd stand there, and the person would always say, "I remember you when you were this big and you were doing this and you're that," and you're standing there going and then as a kid you don't really kind of put up that, you sort of smile, and then you're bored with it, and it shows. It really does show, because you're just kind of like, how much longer are you going to stand here talking, because you don't know the person, or whatever it might be. And so you've had to do that. I've had that too, even as an adult. I run into somebody, like, I'll recognize them, but for the life of me I have no idea what their name is, but they're asking me about my parents or my brothers or whatever it is. And so I've seen them at events, weddings, baby showers, whatever it might be. Not a clue what her name is. "Oh, tell your mom I said hi." I don't have the balls to go and say, "Sorry, what was your name again?" That's just rude after you stood there for 5 minutes talking, right? But I want to hear about an event that you've had to go to, that you were sort of dragged to. And did you pretend? Did you pretend? I went to an event years ago. This one really sticks out in my mind. It was for... Okay, I was hosting a podcast for a trucking company. This is probably about 4 or 5 years ago. I was brought in to host a podcast for them, and I was going to a bunch of their different events. And I'm not saying anything about truck drivers. Great. They bring us the groceries and supplies and everyday needs that we have. So I'm not knocking the industry. I'm not. But what I'm saying is, like, I'm not. If I say I'm not one of them, that's going to sound disrespectful. Do you know what I'm not in that industry. Like, I'm not one of their peers, I guess, is maybe the better way to say it. And they were very nice people. I'm not saying, like, I'm just saying this is like fish out of water is what I'm getting at. Like, I don't fit in with the trucker crowd. And that's not a knock at them, just like I wouldn't fit in with the kickbox, the people who watch the kickbox. Give me the name of it, you guys. What is it? UFC. I don't fit in with that group of people who's going to be cheering whatever for that. I'm not knocking them. I'm not saying anything bad. That's just not right. We all have our little circles that we kind of mesh with. So for the trucking, I ended up going to, I guess their yearly, I guess it was their Christmas party when I think about it. And it was just so weird, because it was almost like the Academy Awards. They were everybody was dressed like super formally, and took it very, very seriously. And the awards they were handing out, again, it was like and for this award, and this person won this, had driven this many miles, and this person has had this many hours of service, and this many years of service, and this many. And a part of it to me was sort of juvenile, because I was kind of like, these are like people in their 40s and 50s who are like getting a little glass trophy. Like, it just sort of seemed, I don't know, it just seemed weird. And I get the importance of their job. I get it. I'm not saying that. But I was just kind of like, wow, this almost sort of seems like it's blown out of proportion in a way, because you could tell that the people who were not truck drivers are not, being celebrated. I guess like the office staff or whoever was there were just bored out of their mind. Like, just kind of, oh my God, we've got to be here, and we've got to, bow down and kiss these asses because they've been driving a truck for 10 years. That was, and that's what people were saying to me. So the people who were not being celebrated, that's sort of what the grumbling was at the people at my table. And it was just kind of weird. But I just remember sitting there going, this is a room of people. Like, all these people work together. I'm just kind of the outsider who's, was invited to sort of, cover this thing. And it was a room where you could tell most people didn't want to be there. And then, and it was like a free dinner and stuff, so that's probably what drew most of the people in. But after the dinner, and then I guess dessert or whatever it might be, that room cleared out so fast. It was just kind of funny, because I think what ended up happening was you had people who were either guilted into going or just didn't want to look bad that they weren't there, because it seemed like, and again, like I didn't really know these people, but it seemed like you had the cliques, like you had the sort of little small groups, the different departments would sit together. And so it wasn't uncommon then to see basically an entire table clear out after a certain time, right? So you go there to make the appearance, to show, to have that FaceTime with people. And then, once like the Academy Award element of the program was over, it was like, we're fucking bolting, like we're out of here, we're done, like I got no time to. And it was fascinating to sort of see that dynamic at a corporate work environment, like at a corporate function, a corporate party. Because I remember years ago growing up with my parents, that was a big deal. My mom would always talk about the company do. She would always talk about my dad's work Christmas party as the company do. And it was like, I'm going to go out and buy a new dress for it. My dad would have a suit and everything. So it was the same kind of thing. Now, again, we're going back, 30 some years at this point. But I'm wondering, though, if the way of the staff Christmas party is headed out the door. Because, again, you have those staff lunches, you have those, team building things. People just didn't want to, like, even though it was one night to, just have a social night, people just didn't want to be there. So I want to know at your workplace, if you're there right now listening, just maybe shoot me an email from your phone and not your work computer, where you could be tracked and people will see what you're saying. But do you kind of, like, it's kind of like we already spend enough time with each other during the day. So maybe if we do the staff thing as like a lunch or sometime during working hours, that might be better. But when you think about it, it's like we're already going to be here from, 8 to 5 or whatever the workday is, and then we're going to take a break from each other for 2 hours and then come back and spend the rest of the night together. That's just too much for a lot of people, is what I've kind of heard. Send me an email, tell me your thoughts, live@jbonair.com, live@jbonair.com. We're back on the Scribble right after this.
This statement has not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Are you in bad pain? You know what I mean. Your knees hurt, your shoulder hurts, and your back. Oh my God, your back. They're constantly killing you. And I'm sure you've tried every pain pill or cream available at the drugstore, am I right? Well, here is something you haven't tried. Pain Absolve. Pain Absolve is not available in any drugstore. The only way to get it is by calling today. We're so confident that it will work for you that we offer a free bottle with your purchase, no prescription needed, and best of all, each purchase comes with a money-back guarantee. Call now to find out how you can get Pain Absolve and get rid of your pain. Call 800-319-0582. That's 800-319-0582. 800-319-0582. Call today, 800-319-0582.
Isn't it crazy that you wait for payday, but before you know it, you're strapped for cash again? It's time to stop blowing your money and become a smart spender with the book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com. Learn simple ways to cut costs at home every day and during special times of the year. Don't go broke at Christmas. Don't remortgage the house for a fancy vacation. The book is filled with tips to save you money throughout the year. Check out the best-selling book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com or on Amazon and iTunes.
Jeremy Bradley here, back on the Scribble. I'm going to continue talking about workplaces and work environments for just a moment here, because I guess it was a few months ago that whole term quiet quitting came about. And when I when I found out the definition or saw the news stories about it, I was kind of like, well, that's sort of what's been happening for a while now. Like, it depends on the definition of what you think quiet quitting is, but the majority of people seem to just go and say it's doing the bare minimum. It's basically doing your job description. And so that sort of caught me off guard. I was like, well, that's called just doing your job then. Why is that considered quiet quitting? Like, how does that make sense, ladies and gentlemen? And it doesn't, according to a lot of people. But I guess it was just another one of these situations where the employees feel they've got the upper hand. And, they're gonna stick it to the boss because the employees have control. Now, I talked about that on the show, I think it was September, because we did a back to school and then back to work sort of an episode. And that's where I sort of went and said, like, I don't like that idea that now, like, employees have the upper hand, because at the end of the day, your boss is paying you. It's your boss who makes the rules. It's your boss's company. It's the boss's whatever. Now, I get that people are going to go and say, yeah, but you know what? I call the shots. I'm going to be treated with respect. No, I get that. I get that. I hear you. Because I was always one of those people. I was fired from almost every job that I had. So naturally, I own a company and I hire people and I work with them. But it's it's just, I don't know, it's just a different workplace now. And so I think I might have said, I have no interest in working with somebody who's in their early 20s and has this whole thing about, I'm going to come in for 9 o'clock. I'm going to be on my phone 5 minutes after I sit down at my desk. I'm going to be, no, I'm not going to cater to you. I'm not going to bring in beer on tap and video games to get you entertained and motivated to do the job. You're either motivated when you come in or you're not working here. That's always been my thing. And so this quiet quitting thing, I laugh about it because it's, again, from what I understand, employees putting their foot down and saying, I'm not taking work home with me. I'm not doing this and that. But here's the deal, is that I know several people who voluntarily have their work email come to their phone. Voluntarily. It's not required. They were not told that. And so then I've been out with them. I've been out, either dinner or whatever it is, and then because there's that status thing where it's like, oh, another work email. Oh my God, I've got this with it. Nobody told you to have your work email on your phone, so don't even look at it. Don't complain. You brought this on yourself. You did. Don't complain. Nobody told you to do it. It's you. Because you want to feel important. You want to just bitch for the sake of bitching. It's on you. Period. Point blank. End of story. So let me give you some background. We're taping, this is our third or fourth podcast that I'm taping today. We're banking them for Christmas coming up, so I'm just revved up. I've had a Sunny Delight and 4 maple cookies, so I'm just flying right now. But so the quiet quitting thing it hasn't made sense to me because it's like, oh, it's employees just doing the bare minimum at their job, and I'm sitting there going, I understand how today's workforce is, and when I see the way people are, which is rolling in at whatever time they want, this whole flexible time thing, whatever, like employees were getting catered to in a lot of environments already. The pandemic did not necessarily do that. And that was one of the frustrating things when I, did the podcast with the trucking company, is that you'd have people, oh, well, no, she comes in for 9. Oh, she comes in for 9:30. Oh, well, he leaves early. Oh, he does this. And I'm sitting there going, holy crap. Now, don't get me wrong. I love a flexible schedule, but I'm the boss and I can do that. And in our entertainment business that we're in here, that is just how things go. But, the office is not a 9-to-5 structure anymore, which is great. But it's when you give the employee too much power, me as the employer talking, I'm just sort of like, I like to have the upper hand. Not that I mistreat my people because, like I said, we've worked together for 15 some years. If people were unhappy, they would not still be here. But yeah, so the quiet quitting thing is, I also saw some people going and saying it's the millennials thinking that they've created something new. It's their new buzzword, their new trend on TikTok or whatever it is. But it's something that the old curmudgeons like my dad did for many, 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 many years. And he's long retired now. My dad was quiet quitting for the better part of 30 years when he was at his job. Let me tell you, millennials. Anyway, send me an email, live@jbonair.com. Tell me your thoughts on quiet quitting.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
Who are the Kardashians feuding with now? What did that little thug Justin Bieber do this time? Who's getting hitched? And who's headed for Splitsville? Hear the latest celebrity news and gossip every day on Entertainment Wrap-Up. The good, the bad, the ugly, but mostly the ridiculously hilarious. It's all recapped in this daily segment at entertainmentwrapup.com. Have a laugh at the expense of the rich and famous when they take themselves way too seriously. It's 3 minutes of time-wasting fun at entertainmentwrapup.com. Check out Entertainment Wrap-Up at entertainmentwrapup.com. Brought to you by Speak Free Books.
Jeremy Bradley here, back on this. We have a few minutes to spare, and so I was just talking with my colleagues and friends about how we're going to fill that time. And one of the things that I mentioned earlier in the show is that people don't want to go to the staff Christmas party because you spend so much freaking time with your coworkers as it is. And I've mentioned a few times on the show that we've all worked together for many years, and it just works. It just clicks. We're all very different people, but there's something about our personalities that really works. Now, here's the thing. This is what's even crazier. Now, remember, we're all in our 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s at this point here, but we genuinely like each other to the point where even when our executive producer Suzanne has a day off, we still text all day and talk, and on the weekends and things like that. We just do. We do. Bonnie Winters, I know so much about her family, her marriage, her grandson, who's, he's 15 years old now. I've been around since long before he was born. And we still can talk, even though we are together for hours on end, every day. We would still find the time at night, even at, or weekends, whatever it is, to still have a 2-hour conversation on the phone because we just connect. It's really, really great. And then there's other people who come into a job, and I was this person many years ago. I'm coming into the job not to make friends, to do the job, get the paycheck, and get out of there. And that always was sort of frowned upon. So the times when I was just starting out my company and I was hosting the radio show and I was doing other work on the side, when we all worked at a publishing company as well, I was, taking part-time work, contract work, writing or whatever it was. I would never hit it off with those people in the workplace because, one, I wasn't one of them, right? I was a contract worker. I wasn't a regular employee who was there every day. So I didn't know them all that well. But that was the thing. I just never subscribed to that whole, I'm here to make friends. I'm going to socialize. I'm going to stand and talk at a desk 10 minutes before I go and sit down and actually get my ass to work. I've just never been that person. And so that's what always would frustrate me. But now when it's my workplace and, we've got our deadlines, obviously. We've got to be on the air on the radio at a certain time. So we're sort of forced into cutting the crap and getting to the point. But, it's just kind of like we know what we've got to do, and that's how it is. We really don't have a structured day per se, aside from when it's showtime or something like that. But absolutely, I mean, we roll in at whatever time, and it's just more casual that way because I'm not a morning person. So I would be very hypocritical if I was telling people, okay, so everybody in here at 8 o'clock. Excuse me, you were in here at 8:01? Really? No, as long as you guys are producing the show, I don't care if it's from your bathtub, from your car, from an airplane seat, from a rehab facility, for wherever. If my show isn't produced, your ass is on the line. But if we're rolling and things are great and you're feeding me my stories throughout the day, I can just sit at the microphone and make it sound like I know what the hell Kim Kardashian's doing today. Perfect. That's what I want. However you get to that point, however you get me that script, I don't care as long as I get the script at the time that it's supposed to be because we tape at a certain time or whatever it is. So, did I go into workplaces looking for friends? No. Did I think years ago when I started working at a publishing company that I would hit it off with a homophobic, hillbilly from the country like Bonnie Winters was? I've changed her now, obviously. I wouldn't work with a homophobe, but I've opened her eyes to just a different lifestyle, and I appreciate the caring and love that she gives me after all these years. And so we all came from such different corners of the world in a roundabout way, figuratively speaking, and it just worked. We just hit it off, and we've just become great friends, and that's the ultimate workforce that we have here. So I don't know if it works like that in other places because I haven't, so tell me. Tell me what it's like in your workplace. Do you appreciate having the arcade games and video games and the prizes? Because when there used to be like, you get a $5 Starbucks gift card. Oh, you want a $5 gift? I'm be like, shove that up your ass. Oh, why do I want that? Like, really? Because I would look at that and go, however old I was, I'm a 30-some-year-old guy. I'm supposed to do a cartwheel because I just won a $5 gift card for Spirit Week? Shove it. I'll show you where you can swipe that card. Send me an email live@jbonair.com.
We hear you chirping. Get scribbling. Tweet up the Scribble at The Scribble Show. Join the discussion with Jeremy Bradley. It's all going down right now on Twitter @The Scribble Show and @thescribbleshow.com.
JB here, back on the Scribble. One more quick story. We've got less than 2 minutes. Years ago, when I was doing a writing contract, with a marketing team, I was part of their Secret Santa, their gift exchange kind of a thing. And I had started writing for them in November. And it was late November when they all kind of got together as a group and said, should we do Secret Santa again? I had only met these people a few weeks earlier. They were less than thrilled. Like, you could just see, like, nobody wanted to do this, but I think they did it because it was just kind of, that would be the nice thing to do for the team as a Christmas thing. And it was the most awkward exchange because you could tell these people either really didn't know each other or really didn't give a crap about each other. Now, I didn't know these people from a hole in the ground. One of the guys, my gift was Baconopoly. So basically Monopoly, but like bacon themed. Why? I don't know. And do I know a thing about the person that I had to buy a gift for? No, I really didn't. And it was just awkward. So I think it's those forced moments that sort of make employees go, it's not genuine, and it just is so fake. But anyway, send me an email live@jbonair.com. My name is Jeremy Bradley. I got to catch my breath. My name is Jeremy Bradley. This is The Scribble. Feel free to give me a shout anytime. It's always awesome hearing from you. I love talking about workplace and business and all that other stuff. So if you've got stories to share, I want to hear them or read them anyway. I will talk to you same time, same place next week. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye for now.
Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter @thescribbleshow. The Scribble is a speak-free media presentation.
If you want some